So what we're beginning with is a budget. It's basically just that, an estimate of income and expenditures for a set period of time. This is the source of the definition down there in the bottom. Basically, you're looking at a limited time over this particular time frame for a budget. So, two questions. Why do we budget and how do we budget? So why a budget? A budget is basically just the formal expression of plans for any operation. What we're basically taking is our faculty members' thoughts and processes and their focus on what subject or our operation they're going to be taking care of, and expressing that in terms of dollars and cents. Now, the problem that a lot of us have in that particular series or that particular focus is a lot of times we don't understand, number one, the science, and number two, what all is involved. So how do we go about determining whether or not a budget is reasonable, for example? Do we need to have 10 people on this particular project when one person would do? That's where we rely on our subject matter experts, our faculty members, and then those depending upon your routing process, in the dean's office or in the chair's office, to ensure that we're putting forth a budget that is reasonable in its entirety, as far as are we looking at an appropriate number of people for the particular project, an appropriate amount of technology. But again, the problem that we have when we're talking about building these budgets is we don't know what the future holds, which is the focus of the research. We don't know where tangentially we're going to be going off track from what we had originally proposed. And our sponsors know this for the most part, and they're usually really good about understanding that we may have to follow a lead even though it may be off of what we had originally proposed. A lot of times, as long as we disclose that, go back to and talk to our sponsors, they're real good about understanding those particular types of processes and why we may have to go off and follow this promising lead that we may have. But it also, the budget can help set and define what our success is for a particular project. Whenever we begin with a project and with a sponsor, one of the things that we always want to do, budgets and other items in our proposals, we want to also use that process to set what success means for any one of our projects. How are we going to attain that? How are we going to achieve that, so that we have some way to measure how well we did in a particular project? Now, when we end a $500,000 project and we have, let's say, $100,000 left over at the end, does that necessarily mean we did a great job? Not necessarily. It just all depends upon what was uncovered during that process. Because at the same point in time, we can have a project that goes $100,000 over. Does that mean we necessarily did a bad job in managing that particular award? Not necessarily. Again, it just depends upon the science and what we're trying to uncover at that particular point in time. I can tell you, though, my administration, they would have a problem going $100,000 over budget, and I think Jamie's and Mario's would too. So you do have to watch those, and it is something that we have to pay attention to.